What's up, horror fam? Welcome back to the channel. So for today's daily episode, we have some more information on the Substance, some of that behind the scenes information that I've told you time and time again. I absolutely love finding out about whether a film is 2 weeks old, 2 months old, 2 years old, 2 decades old. I always find it very interesting when a film is done. We find out some behind the scenes information, whether it's how actors and actresses got prepared for something. And in this case, if you haven't seen The Substance, then you really won't have a point of reference of what this article is talking about. So spoilers, but I think the vast majority of you have seen The Substance or have seen enough spoilers about it to know what I'm talking about, or at least what this article is talking about when it refers to the prosthetics that both Margaret and Demi Moore had to wear for the film. So we're going to cover off on some of this behind the scenes information that Margaret Qualley had mentioned that took place for her and how it impacted her skin wearing these prosthetics. We also have some information about an upcoming psychological horror film called The Avalanche, so we're going to get into those details as well. So taking a look at this one first, quote, "They couldn't shoot my face anymore. The Substance prosthetics messed up Margaret Qualley's skin so much that some scenes had to hide her face, but she used it for another 2024 movie." So let's look at some of these details. The Substance star explains how the extensive prosthetics damaged her face. The 2024 hit body horror film tackles the issue of aging in Hollywood in a unique way, telling a tale of the lengths an aging star named Elizabeth Sparkle will go to in order to preserve a sense of youth. The older star is played by Demi Moore, who is opposite maid Margaret Qualley. The Substance received great reviews and earned Moore a Golden Globe for Best Female Actor for Best Musical or Comedy. Speaking on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Qualley details the effects of the extensive prosthetics that were used for her in The Substance. Qualley explains that the prosthetics she had to use in The Substance made her face break out with extensive acne. This influenced The Substance filming, as the team had to cut around her face in scenes filmed after the prosthetic heavy scenes. The effect was so great that it even persisted during Qualley's next shoot, Kinds of Kindness. Check out the full quote from Qualley below. So let's take a look at that. "By the end of this shoot, I had wait, did you see? You saw Kinds of Kindness? Okay, so you know the character that has all that acne? That was just my acne from the prosthetics." And I was like, oh, this is kind of perfect. I'm playing all these different characters. For one of them will see all my crazy prosthetic acne. Yeah, it took probably a year to recover physically from all of that. At the end when they're shooting up the skirt in the beginning of credits and it's the palm trees all around and they have all these long lens from the bottom, that's just because my face was so blanked up that at that time they couldn't shoot my face anymore. Yeah, that was a bit of a struggle to say that quote. I mean, I don't know how many times she had to say the word in that. She has a quick YouTube video here. We're not going to click on that. So the prosthetics, though, we know were widely used even for Demi Moore. She came out with the bodysuits that she wore. She posted, I think, 5 or 6 images on her Instagram in those bodysuits, and they were quite extensive. I thought they did pretty well with the practical effects for this film. Even though it had an immense effect on Qualley, the Substance's prosthetics were critical to the film. This makeup tactic is employed when the films Elizabeth and Sue merge together into one monstrous Essoe. As a body horror film, this being with a melted-looking face and extra breasts protruding from her body is a critical image. Her level of prosthetics is definitely extensive, however, so it makes sense why Qualley's skin may have struggled to recover. We go on a little bit more about the film, what the film was recognized for, and this is one of those images where the prosthetics was used, as they were talking about, where you can see she's clearly in them, and I could see, you have that much practical effects makeup on. Yeah, I can imagine it's going to take its toll on your skin. If you haven't seen this film, I would highly recommend it. It's one of those films I think took many people by surprise. I wish it would have gotten a wider release. I wish it would have been seen with a little bit more respect. Could have gotten a wider release. I think if it would have gotten a bigger box office return than what it did get. And then even from a streaming perspective, it got streamed strictly to Mubi, and that was exclusive for a good month or two before it finally became available for rent or purchase via like Amazon or even Apple. So I hope it does eventually get it out to other streaming platforms for other people to see, because not many people have Mubi or even heard of it as a streaming platform. And I think it kind of just does it a disservice for a film like this. I am happy to see that Demi Moore did win a Golden Globe for this. And I've reported on this film time and time again, especially when the nominations came out for the Golden Globes. The Substance got 5 nominations. I'm hoping the fact that she won for Best Actress, that it does open the eyes for further awards shows that come out and other nominations. I would love for this film to get nominated again and to see it win as well. Hopefully, even from an Oscars perspective, I think it would be phenomenal if Demi Moore won an Oscar for her role in The Substance. Not only for her, but for the film itself and all those involved in the film, but even for the horror genre. I've said this time and time again, I don't think the horror genre gets any respect when it comes to awards or around award season. And I'm talking about these types of awards, whether it's Golden Globes, Oscars, things of that nature. I think there's a lot of great work being done in the horror genre when it comes to films, especially of late. And I think it deserves to be shown. It deserves the respect. And again, hopefully this film opens that door, lays the foundation for future films to start being looked at a bit more seriously when it comes to award season. So fingers crossed that we see that. But I always love seeing these behind the scenes things. And it's crazy that it took her a year, as she mentioned, almost a year for her skin to fully recover from the fact of how many prosthetics, or probably even how long she had to wear the prosthetics just for filming. All right, so let's jump to our next topic here. So as we see here, Alex Essoe and Lou Taylor Pucci to star in psychological horror film The Avalanche. Interesting name for a psychological horror film, or a horror film in general, The Avalanche. Not a typical title you would see for a horror film. So let's look at some of these details here. Genre favorite Alex Essoe, who also was in Starry Eyes, The Pope's Exorcist, is adding another horror credit to her resume with The Avalanche. Deadline reports that the actress has signed on to star in the indie film alongside Lou Taylor Pucci, with principal photographer set to begin in this month, actually. Deadline reports that the actress has signed on to star in the indie film alongside Lou Taylor Pucci, with principal photography set to begin this month. Cuban-American writer-director Johnny Coffin, who began as the assistant editor of Short Term 12, will make his feature debut on the psychological horror film. The Avalanche follows 2 former lovers played by Essoe and Pucci, forced together by an avalanche that cuts them off from the world. Quote, as the weight of their shared history begins to crack the thin veneer of civility, strange apparitions stir in the dark corners of their shelter. Reality and paranoia bleed together as buried secrets claw their way to the surface, leaving them to question whether the true danger lies outside the cabin or within. Jamie Parslow produces with Emily Zurcher and Shane Brady serving as co-producers. After making a name for herself in Starry Eyes, Essoe also became a frequent collaborator with Mike Flanagan, playing Wendy Torrance in Doctor Sleep before appearing in The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, The Midnight Club, and The Fall of House of Usher. She recently co-starred in The Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. Pucci has a genre pedigree as well. In addition to the Evil Dead reboot, he starred in Carrie's and Spring and had a reoccurring roles and on American Horror Story 1984 and he'll next appear in Disney's Plus Daredevil Born Again. So just a few pictures of the two of them and their projects, but I'm looking forward to this one. It's, like I said, it's just an interesting title. I mean, I like the paranormal. I like those types of subgenre horror films, and if they're going to be secluded in one particular spot. We've seen this happen with some other films where you only have a couple of actors or actresses and it's all being shot within one central location. So this one's going to be kind of interesting. I mean, they're going to have to carry the film themselves just between the two of them. And again, if it is secluded in one central location within a cabin, within one room, and they're filming the whole thing there, and you have this paranormal entity or activity going on that's either attacking them or they have to somehow get out. I mean, I don't know. Those films are hard to watch sometimes if they're not done correctly. If you don't have the right story, so the story is going to have to be solid for this one, and the acting is going to have to be solid for this to even, I think, get an average rating. If you think out of 5, to even get a 3 out of 5, just to say, hey, yeah, it's on par, it's okay. Now, this again, the story, the acting is going to have to be phenomenal for me personally to give it even higher than that. There have been a few films that have surpassed that. Again, this is just going to be one of those ones where I hope they know what they're doing, because if you're going to keep it to 2 actors in a central spot, it's going to be hard to pull off an hour and a half of interest from the audience. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they do it justice, and hopefully we get a great trailer for this one when it is ready. And like I've always said, the trailers typically will tell me if it's going to hook me or not. And based on this alone, I mean, I'm interested, by all means, just based off the premise. But as far as being hooked yet, gotta have to see a trailer to see if it's going to hook me fully. So more to come on this one. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's daily episode. Just a quick thank you to all the new and existing subscribers. It is greatly appreciated. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you drop a comment in the comment section, let us know what you think about some of this behind the scene information about the Substance. And are you looking forward to this new psychological horror film called The Avalanche? Once we have a teaser or full trailer, we will be sure to break it down and bring it to you. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Peace.